onto the best part in West Indies cricket, which is our T20s. T20s, T20s. So looking at the fixtures first, Davian, are you satisfied? We have a lot of T20. We play Australia, South Africa come here before the World Cup. The World Cup fixtures have been announced. We'll soon get into that. We have Caribbean Premier League. We're going to play Sri Lanka. We have England. We have Bangladesh. And we hear talks about another T20 league to come into our calendar year as well. So we're playing lots of T20s, man. Everybody wants to play West Indies in T20s.
Right. I'm very happy with the fixtures we have for T20. If these guys perform well, they're making more money on the franchise cricket, and then there will be problem for a test team. We have more players opting out, playing tests and playing franchise cricket. So interesting times. But
Interesting. But
for
looking at the fixtures, your thoughts on it? Yeah, you satisfied?
very interesting. But in terms of results, I expect us to really win all these series they're going to play. I expect us to win 2-1 margins for all of them. And for the World Cup playing, I expect us to reach semifinals. I believe we'll be reaching the semifinals, at least the semifinals for a World Cup in the Caribbean.
All right, definitely. Same question to you, Ricardo. Are you satisfied with what you're seeing in terms of our T20 fixtures and your prediction or assessment of what to expect for West Indies in T20 for 2024?
All right. Yes, I am pleased with what I'm seeing here for the T20 fixtures for this year. I do believe that we will win majority of our matches in across these series. The Australia series is gonna be tough. Reason being, a lot of the Australia players, they are currently in their Big Bash league, so they are primed for T20 cricket right now. So I think they may be able to, and they're playing in the same conditions and all of that. So I think Australia may edge us in the T20 series. I think we're gonna put up a good showing though. I think it could go either way, but based on how I'm looking at this, the fact that Australia is in their Big Bash league, the players are all active, all the Australian players are playing. It's gonna be the same conditions and all of that. I expect the Australian team to do extremely well and match up well against us. South Africa and the Caribbean, I think we should take that. The World Cup, Davian mentioned at least semifinals. I'm gonna go a bit further and say at least the final. That's what I am expecting of us. The CPL, I think we may have to. Well, we're not 100% sure as to how the teams will look just yet, the franchises. But if there are no dramatic changes, I think we can still look to Trinidad to be up there. Sri Lanka series, I expect us to take that possibly 3-0. England, I expect us to win that at the least 2-1. And Bangladesh, I think we can take that 3-0.
All right. Excellent. But you brought a very interesting point about CPL in terms of not knowing what the squads are going to look like, but if it looks the same, Trinidad. But as you touch CPL, I have this question to ask. So, as we would have seen over the years, the guys promoting CPL, Andre Russell, Kyron Pollard, Sunil Narayan, DJ Bravo, Jason Holder. That was 2013. Those were the poster boys. With Chris Gale, of course. Now in 2023, those were the same guys that are the poster boys, and majority of them are retired. So my question to you now, Ricardo, is what's going to happen in terms of Caribbean T20 in the next 5 years? Because the players, we're not seeing that development. We're not seeing the new stars to replace our legends.
I On the flip side, I do think that we have had some players coming through. I just think that, those players that you mentioned, these are players who have dominated leagues around the world. So it would be difficult to remove them from being the face of the CPL. I think it would be the best selling point because even though a lot of these players would have retired or close to retirement, the fact is these are some of the biggest names in the history of T20 cricket. And so I think it was a good selling point in terms of promoting our own league. But as you say, I think it's time for us to move away from them. Nicky P, he's becoming, one who is highly respected around the world in T20 cricket, especially. So I think he can be there now. You mentioned Shafin Rutherford earlier. I think he has been, making a name for himself in the CPL of late also. So we do have some players, Brandon King. He has been consistent. So I think we do have some players who we can use to replace those players as the face of the CPL. We just have to be bold and make a move and realize that, there's a changing in the guard. We have some young players coming through, and we just have to, be confident in their abilities.
Definitely, I 100% agree. These youngsters, Puran, King, Rutherford, it's time. They need to now be the poster boys. Now, Davion, over to you. Looking back at 2023, we saw where we won 7 T20 matches, lost 4, but the key thing, we won all our T20 series, right? Now, I'm just gonna fast forward to World Cup, right? You expect us to get to semifinals. First thing,
Right.
I'm asking you, Davion, what are your thoughts on the group, the grouping?
All
Looking at
right.
West Indies group, we're in Group C with New Zealand, Afghanistan, Uganda, and Papua New Guinea. Your thoughts on the
Well,
selection?
the first advantage for us, all our games in the group stage will be played in the Caribbean, so we know what the conditions are. So that's a huge plus for us. I expect us definitely to beat Uganda and Papua New Guinea. The challenges for us will be Afghanistan and New Zealand. Afghanistan, they have very skillful bowlers. They have some batters. Jonathan Trott is doing a good job in improving the quality of their batting. And we know that New Zealand, they are a tournament team. So despite they not having quote unquote impact players, they know how to win certain games in the tournament. So it's
All
very
right, you
important.
mentioned Afghanistan. I just want to show you the fixtures, right? So St. Lucia is the best surface for fast bowling in the Caribbean. So
Right,
Afghanistan forefront spin attack right there is not going to work. So just to clarify,
right,
look at it. We're going to play Afghanistan at St. Lucia. Fast bowlers paradise. Lots of bounce, lots of pace. Right. So you may continue. I just wanted to clarify for the viewers. I don't want anybody to feel worried that
right,
Afghanistan
right,
spinners are going to bamboozle us. No, it's not
right.
going to be like that.
To be honest, I think to show how skillful Afghanistan spin bowlers are, I think they take the pitch out of the equation when it comes to T20 cricket. In my honesty, but I'm looking forward to see how they play New Zealand, Afghanistan, how they play Afghanistan and New Zealand, especially from a bowling and fielding perspective. We will know if they're going to pass semi-final.
All right. All right. Ricardo, over to you. The question I want to ask you is in terms of the venues. How satisfied are you with the venues for each opposition?
All right, so I was actually here looking at it, and New Zealand in Trinidad. I think that's good for us. Most of our team would have played a lot of matches in Trinidad over the years, especially in CPL cricket. I mean, all our T20 players should know Trinidad conditions, like their own home. we see where so much of the CPL is played in Trinidad, so that should be good for us. Davian did mention an important point about the Afghan spinners. They may be able to take the spin out, the wicket out of the equation, but I am somewhat 50-50 on that. Reason being, I think the only one who may really affect us on a St. Lucia wicket is actually Rashid Khan, who I think has probably lost a little bit of his bite over the last few years. Most batsmen are realizing that you don't play him for leg spin. You actually play him for the googly or the straighter, quicker one. And then, I mean, if he beats you with a leg spinner, then you clap him and say, well done. But I think a lot of batsmen around the world, and I'm hoping that the West Indies management team would have looked into this as well and realized that we can conquer Rashid Khan. And I believe once we do that, then they will be at our mercy. I'm not fearful of any other spin bowler that they have in any way, shape, or form. So I am comfortable with us playing Afghanistan in St. Lucia. So I
Definitely.
think the fixtures, I'm satisfied. Except for the fact, of course, I'm not seeing Sabina part there, but we know the story behind all of that. So,
Right,
you know, let, let's not, we can't even hold down a franchise here in Jamaica anymore. So, I don't know where we go from there, but I think we should do extremely well. I expect us to win all our matches in the group stage. It is normally said that it is, we saw it with India. You don't want to wait until the final to lose that one match. So if we are going to slip up any at all, then, maybe a group match, probably after we have comfortably qualified, then, maybe you play a one bad match and just get it out of the way. Because they normally say in tournaments, especially tournaments over an extended period, every team is guaranteed a bad match. So, let us see where that goes as far as we are concerned. But we are hoping for the best. We have also seen teams win tournaments unbeaten. It's rare, but it's possible. And I think this could be one of those cases. I really see where we're getting it together. As I say, it's great to have Darren Sammy at the helm. This is a proven winner, a man who knows how to win, and this can only filter through the entire team.
Definitely, definitely. 100% agree. And just to add some context to it for the viewers, as Ricardo mentioned, it's good to get that bad game early out in the tournament. In 2016, when we won the T20 World Cup, we actually lost our final group game to Afghanistan. In 2012, when we won the World Cup, we lost one of our group games again. We had beaten England and Australia, and I don't remember which team we lost to, but I remember 5 teams in the group and we lost one of those games. So it's always good just to put it into context for the viewers, just to get that bad game out the way. So now, next question I want to ask you, Ricardo, before I get back to Davian, is in Trinidad, that Taroba wicket, we saw 2 types of pitches, right? We saw in the first game, well, actually, it was the fourth T20 against England. We saw a Taroba pitch that was flat, 267 by England, and we were going skelter for leather, and could have chased it down if we're being
Mhm.
honest. And then in the final T20, we saw 130 and some change scored by England, and we crawled our way there, courtesy Shea Hope. Against New Zealand, which of those two which of those two pitches that they can prepare at Trinidad would you prefer? Given that we beat India on a pitch similar to the second one, around about 130, 140.
Um, to be honest, I would probably want that first wicket and we bat first and just pile on the runs and then apply scoreboard pressure. I think that we tend to get it wrong most times when we're chasing big targets. Um, how we go about the innings. Even that England game, I I'm one who I love positive cricket, but I think that we were trying to win the match in the first 10 overs, which is just not possible chasing 267 in 20 overs. I think that if we had been a little more calculated, I think we could have gotten extremely close to that total. But it just goes to show what scoreboard pressure can actually do. You see that 267 and you're thinking, we just cannot let our over go by in the power play and we don't get double figures in terms of runs. So it puts a lot of pressure on the top order. So I would I think I would want us to, because I believe we can outbat New Zealand in T20 cricket. We have the batting, we have the power. In fact, I don't think there's any team in the world that has the power that we do consistently. Like, all of our players are six hitters. Even Shea Hope, who would expect to anchor the inning. We saw where Shea Hope can go over the top when he wants to, when it's necessary, right? And all the other players that we have, these players, they are just machines when it comes on to hitting sixes. So I believe we can outbat any team in the world, and so I wouldn't mind that first wicket, and we bat first and just pile on the runs.
All right, so we heard it. We heard it, viewers. But first, pile on the runs on that flat pitch there in Tarouba, and it's too much for New Zealand. I personally think anything, we're just a better team than New Zealand right now, but let's wait and see. Now, over to you now, Davian. You mentioned your prediction is that West Indies should get in the top four, so semifinals, and that's where you're calling it. So I want you now, Davian, to predict or tell us your prediction of the four teams you see going through to the semifinals, based on, of course, the groupings.
All right. So I see India reaching the semifinal. So could we see the full thing?
Just going up to the group here so you can see it.
All right. All right. So in Group A, I see India coming from Group A. Group B, see Australia. Group C, West Indies. And for Group D, I see South Africa. So
All right.
those are the four teams I see reaching the semifinal.
All right. And Ricardo, how about you? Any changes to that? Your four predicted semifinalists?
Um, Maybe my Group A prediction is just, from the heart. I'm a big Pakistan fan, as you
You
know.
know, your team
Yeah,
being
man.
battered over there in
I
Australia.
will, I will love to see Pakistan make it, but based on consistent quality, I think eventually it will be India. But I would love to see Pakistan. Australia from Group B, I think they should get there. West Indies, of course, from Group C, and I'm looking to South Africa in Group D as well. So basically the same thing that Davian has, except I would love to see Pakistan.
There. All right, so Ricardo, any dark horse you think that can really just pull a magnificent surprise for this upcoming T20 World Cup?
Ah, the thing about it, based on how the groups are and how the semi-final matchups are going to be, I would. New Zealand is always a good bet as a dark horse. We know they're going to play good, hard cricket. Um, so I think New Zealand could do better than maybe what a lot of us expect. So I am somewhat looking to New Zealand to make a good run in this World Cup.
Wait, let's see if New Zealand plays Afghanistan at Guyana. I would like that. I want Afghanistan to slap out New Zealand. Let's see. Afghanistan is playing New Zealand at Guyana.
But
So
remember,
Davian,
New Zealand has Mitchell Santa. Mitchell Santa is a excellent spin bowler. He can
Yeah,
really
but
challenge Afghanistan bowler
Mitch
batters.
Santner is one bowler versus Afghanistan. They're going to play four spinners at Guyana, where we've seen that New Zealand couldn't manage a spin against Bangladesh, even in their backyard. Because I think the T20 series drew 1-1. So I think this group possibly is the most interesting group given that Afghanistan is here. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that Afghanistan has a lot to prove. I mean, they did quite well in the Cricket World Cup 2023. So a lot of eyes will be on them to see how well they perform in this one. And they have a lot of T20 stars as well.
Definitely. Definitely.
I
Definitely.
I I actually believe that this is the group where you have three teams that could all beat each other. In the
Yeah.
sense, we could see West Indies beat New Zealand, Afghanistan beat New Zealand, and West Indies beat New Zealand, um, Afghanistan beat losing to West Indies, and then New Zealand beating West Indies. But let us see three top quality teams in the white ball game. I was somewhat surprised with how New Zealand looked against Bangladesh recently. It was shocking to say the least. But I do believe that when it comes on to World Cups, we have seen them before, that they always tend to bring their A game. And I don't think they're going to make it easy for West Indies or Afghanistan, albeit in Guyana.
Well, New Zealand certainly got their work cut out for them to face Afghanistan right at Providence, Guyana. I'm loving it, loving the schedule, loving everything about this World Cup. All right, so
Just to add, Ronaldo, before we go forward, apart from the four teams I mentioned, which will be
oh
making the
yeah, dark horse
semi-final.
too. Yes,
Right,
yes.
right, right. So despite England dismal performance in white by 2023, they actually have a lot of quality players. And I think if they get the tactical aspect of their game correct for this World Cup, they will create a lot of problems.
Definitely. And Jofra Archer, if he's fit, if Jofra Archer is fit, and you throw in Ben Stokes with Jofra Archer, I think England they have a very solid team. Very solid team. But I like that. I 100% agree with you. Hopefully, Archer will be available right after World Cup. Right? I would not want to see Archer over here in the Caribbean. All right. So, as Ricardo mentioned earlier, um, about it's time now that the youngsters step up in terms of being the face now of promoting our T20 cricket, the likes of Brandon King, Nicholas Poor, and Sherfane Rutherford.